fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here, and now, before we do begin, I believe that I should give an explanation as to the Mutant Registration Act, in the way that it will be working. Now, the Mutant Registration Act is actually very simple, and it does actually work both ways. Now, Genosha, they are reluctant to and are actually being taken to court to give information of mutants up to the United Nations. This being because of the information that has been used in the previous Sentinel program before. Now, with that being said, I have alluded to this before in the past, but I have actually not given an explanation to it, because I feel like it's actually better to keep this as previous events. If I elaborate on them, it doesn't feel as in the past anymore. Now, Genosha, they're not giving their information to the United Nations because of what they've done before with that information. And if they are to give this information over, the world would have to give over to Genosha all the information they have about humans with quirks. Now, this information is virtually useless to Genosha because of exactly how much more powerful, potent, and versatile their own abilities could be. Now, with that being said, I do believe I did mention something about court, so we'll pick up there. A year later with Izuku Midoriya at the age of 14 and a half years old. In this timeline, his little sister is already born, her actually quickly approaching her first birthday. As we do have Izuku, Charles, and a few other mutants. Now, they're all standing in the courtroom, as Charles is giving his explanation and testimony, since he is going to comply. Now, Charles is talking about how he will get as many mutants as he can to actually register, while Magneto would interject, talking about how the world has been going on the way it has been for the last 200 years, without the information. And that if they are to give up this information, what is going to happen? Now, the UN refuses to answer this question, as it is actually Midoriya's turn up on the microphone. Now, the mutant who actually is standing there, he does begin to repeat what Midoriya does say, since his mutant ability is being a universal translator. If the language exists, he will find a way to learn it, and quickly become a master at it. Now, with that being said, I forgot the mutant's name, but he does exist currently in comics. Now, he does begin to repeat what Midoriya is saying, as Midoriya does say that he is refusing to comply, and that he believes that with the way people have been treating mutants within the last year, and the way that mutants have been treating people, that if this does escalate, more mutants would retaliate. Now, the person actually next to Midoriya, or at least talking with Midoriya, does ask him if he does believe then that mutants should comply. To which he does state yes. Now, a lot of people are looking at Midoriya, as the man actually would hold up something, saying that let it be known that the mutant currently speaking does have a whole host of abilities, and that they've actually done a rating on some of them. Now, they talk about how Midoriya is a mutant with so many abilities, and that he does have three that are technically, or at least possibly classified, as Omega level. Now, this actually does surprise a lot of people, as they do actually go on stating. Midoriya and Charles Xavier do share one ability, and even Charles is considered to be Omega level. Now, Midoriya does just stare at Charles, saying to him through telepathy that he didn't list all of his abilities there, did he? Of course not. I left out your other ones. If the world knows that you have 6 Omega level abilities, then you will be seen as a threat, and even your family will be put in danger. I still hate you for that, you know. Charles actually at least flinching a little bit. Him apologizing once again, saying that he had to hand over those abilities. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to be here today. Now, the mutant does say in Genoshin that Midoriya does need to pay attention. The man then going to talk about how the mutants even have their own language. Now, Midoriya, he basically does give an explanation. If things begin to start regressing to what they were before, then how do they know that they won't bring back the Sentinels? And give mutants an actual reason to fight back. They might be in lesser number than humans, at least 30 million, but at least they would actually pose a threat. Talking about how he's fought the Hulk and won. Now, Midoriya does actually say the next few words that his powers have increased since then. And he even does have a better grasp on a few of things. Now, before Midoriya can even elaborate on this, a recess is called. As Midoriya does actually face to the stand, and people do watch him do this. The man then brings his hand up and saying that that is also another example. What if you were to do that to another living person? Midoriya looking at the man, as he does see Midoriya's eyes pour with red power, before he actually does somewhat, well, go on the back foot. Midoriya doing that so fast, the man's heart almost jumped into his throat. Now, Midoriya is sitting outside the courtroom, as he is trying to think of the words he does need to say. Okay. I can give these reasonings. These ones. No, wait, these ones. Now, Charles actually would go up to Midoriya, asking him if he would finally like to have that conversation. Midoriya just actually quickly moving to the right fast, as he would face to the wall and use his super speed. Now, Midoriya, he actually does appear outside, as a lot of people do see him. Now, they are trying to get a statement from him, the young upstart from the mutants, since they get a word out of him and it can probably go viral. Now, Midoriya, he actually would fly up, and into a part of the courtyard where the press cannot get to. Now, Midoriya does actually land on a bench, and bring his hands behind him. I just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Jesus. I don't understand this. What's so hard to get about it? They just won't listen to me. It's like talking to a brick wall. Now, as Midoriya does think this, he does just somewhat rant to himself. He doesn't understand it. Every time he tries to bring up something, they try and throw him in a different direction. Every time he tries to make points, they ignore them. And it's actually starting to get very annoying to him. Now, Midoriya actually does look down as he does see his right hand. As Midoriya's watch as the weird ability he does have does disappear. Midoriya's hand goes from looking like a, well, what's the best way to say it? Bug-like claw to back to a normal-looking hand. Midoriya is still confused. He doesn't understand that. And then there's that. Jesus, how many more powers am I going to have? Excuse me, you're Izuku Midoriya, is that correct? What are you turning around? Yeah, I'm Izuku. Ah, I see. Now, the man actually would go to sit down. Him actually facing away from Midoriya as he does turn. Bring his hand up onto the young man's shoulder. Ah, it is nice to meet you. Hello. Who are you? Oh, my name is him giving a fake name. As he would say that he is aware of the young boy's current actions. And he is here to help. Really? Yes, I am. I would like to have a conversation with you. And learn a bit more about your powers. Sure. What type of questions were you going to ask me? Well, first off, I was actually going to ask you about a few. I see. Well, I'm sorry to say, sir, but I'm not going to answer them. I see. Now, the man does go to stand up. Him pressing down onto Midoriya's shoulder as he actually does spin around and slam something onto Midoriya's neck. Now, Midoriya does actually feel the pressure on his neck. Him barely even moving an inch as he would turn around and ask him exactly what did he just do. Oh, sorry, I lost my footing there for a minute. Huh? Really? Now, the man does try to explain as he goes to reach down into his left pocket, talking about how as he does click a button. Midoriya's expression went from confused to blank, as he does say that it worked. Of course it did work. That variant technology isn't as fragile as regular technology. Now, Victor Von Doom. I love that name. He does then give Midoriya an order, talking about how Midoriya is to now induce fear. He wants to see him destroy downtown. And once that does actually happen, he will have mission accomplished. Now, Midoriya, he actually does listen. Him going to fly up into the air as a sonic boom is heard. Now, we do have the X-Men who do come running outside. As Charles Xavier, he's trying to find Midoriya, trying to look for his mind. Now, he does sense a weakened version, or at least a weak brain scan from Midoriya, trying to reach him. As we do have Midoriya, who is actually just there in his head. What's going on? Where am I? I see. Who's there? Oh, you can hear me now. I guess when you're not able to see, smell, hear, or anything else, I'm finally able to talk with you. Who are you? Oh, me? I'm nobody. In fact, well, I'm your better half. Now, Midoriya and the Void do have a conversation. The Void not revealing his identity. Now, the conversation would go on for a long time, as we do have everything that's going on outside of Midoriya's head. Midoriya flying through buildings, and causing massive amounts of damage. As it is broadcasted on the news that the mutant known as Powerhouse has gone crazy. Now, this is broadcasted all around the world, as Midoriya's parents are watching. All of a sudden, the court case switching over to mayhem in downtown. Now, we actually do have Midoriya, who he is just throwing his hands up into the air, as his fingers do actually begin to extend, along with blast coming out of his hands, as he just does wave his hands forward. Now, many different people are actually trying to run from the mayhem, and pro heroes and mutants alike are trying to fight back. As Midoriya does actually begin to do something that nobody was able to predict, as technology does begin to short out all around him. And Midoriya, he actually does throw his hands directly behind him before throwing them all around him, as tendrils do begin to shoot out of every part of Midoriya's body. Now, Victor Von Doom does watch this, as the Avengers, they are actually sent in, along with the Fantastic Four and many other superhero teams. Now, with that being said, we even do have a government-sanctioned hero, Captain Marvel, her being one of the first to go in. Now, Midoriya, he is just going on a rampage, flying through buildings and destroying everything, as Midoriya has already destroyed 10 city blocks, and people are still evacuating. Midoriya going to fly upwards into the air as he is blasted in his back. The moment Midoriya is blasted, he actually does go off while moving forwards, before spinning back around, and meeting Captain Marvel face to face, her telling the kid to stand down, and that he's actually making things worse. Midoriya just looking at her as he does go flying towards her, her going to blast at him as Midoriya does actually smash into her guts and wrap his arm around her, before they do go flying towards the ground. Now, the Avengers do actually go and figure out the situation, along with Reed Richards. Now, this would be whenever Charles, he does try and explain something, trying to explain to Captain America that something is very wrong. He can't reach Izuku. Are you sure? Yes, I don't understand this. I should at least be able to sense him. But he's not responding. His activity is different as well. What? Wait, what do you mean by that? I don't know. Now, we do cut back over to Midoriya, as Captain Marvel was thrown through a few walls. Midoriya actually walking through them, as he does just break everything in his path. Him actually reaching down for Captain Marvel's leg, as he does throw her over his head and smash her behind him, before actually throwing her through a wall, and then actually going to throw her towards the ground. Midoriya actually smashing his leg down onto her kneecap as she does scream out, going to blast him away with her power. Now, Midoriya does not react to the blast, so he's just going to swat her hand away. The one he actually does, he uses his unrestrained power, not holding back. Captain Marvel actually having her hand smashed down towards the ground, as Midoriya did break her wrist. Now, Midoriya, he actually does then just let go of her leg, which is now broken, before just walking up to her and looking down, her seeing that blank expression. What happened to you, kid? Now, Midoriya does just go to bring up his leg, and go to throw it down. But when he actually does, something does hit him, as Midoriya is sent flying through a wall with Mjolnir. Now, as Midoriya is blasted away, Thor does recall the hammer, as Captain does go up to, well, Captain Marvel, and ask her if she's alright. I don't understand. How can a kid hit that hard? Well, he did take on Hulk. Now, the Hulk actually does go rushing forwards, and go to attack Midoriya, along with Thor telling Hulk that he does have this one. Now, as Midoriya is charged by these two, Hulk does actually go to throw a punch, as Thor does actually go to try and hit him with a hammer. Now, Midoriya, he actually just phased through both of these attacks, confusing both of them. As Midoriya does actually go to bring his hand upwards and grab onto the Hulk's jaw, as he does actually try to reach for Thor's face. Now, Midoriya actually is able to grab Thor by his helmet, as Midoriya did actually go to rip down and throw up Thor's helmet, him ripping off the Hulk's jaw. Now, Hulk does scream out in pain, and he does actually get angry, trying to smash Midoriya away. Now, Midoriya is sent off of his feet, as Tony Stark does call in a Hulk Buster. Now, he does have another suit of armor. However, it isn't ready yet, and it's still in development. Him thinking that he can at least use research data from this fight to make improvements. Now, we do cut to Colossus, who he actually is falling from the sky, as Magneto threw him up into the air, as he does actually go to try and land on Midoriya. Midoriya just looking up before cocking back his hand and smashing him away. Colossus sent flying, as Midoriya does go to step forwards. Iron Man suiting up in a Hulkbuster as Hulk is regenerating his jaw. And we do actually have Thor, him going to rush towards Midoriya, as Midoriya does actually just do one simple thing. The very moment that he does need to, he does do this. Thor is coming with an upward swing of 45 degrees. And Midoriya does just do this. Him taking a step to the right and bring up his hand. As he actually would grab Thor by his wrist and go to throw it downwards. And then bring up his right hand and breaking Thor's arm. Now, the moment this does actually happen, Thor does drop Mjolnir, as he does go to run backwards, screaming out in pain. Now, Captain America does go in, as does see Midoriya just stand there for a minute, with a blank expression, looking down at the weapon. Now, Midoriya, he actually does begin to start moving and somewhat twitching his body, as he does go to reach downwards for the weapon. Everyone looking at this in awe. Now, Midoriya, he actually does touch Mjolnir with one finger, as Captain America does smash him across his face with a shield. Now, Midoriya, he is actually somewhat knocked back into his mind, as he does go to turn his head and look at all of them. Him trying to say a word, as they do take notice of that. Now, this is whenever Wolverine actually has come up behind Midoriya, going to wrap his arms around the kid and lock his hands. Now, the moment that actually has happened, he does notice something on Midoriya's back, or on the top part of his spine. Now, the moment he does actually notice that, Midoriya does do one simple thing, phasing through Wolverine as he does actually move backwards, and throw up his own hands. Him phasing through Wolverine's chest and ripping out his heart. Now, the Avengers, they team up with the X-Men, and ultimately are able to take down Midoriya after they devise that the thing on his neck is controlling him. Storm actually trying to use her power and combining it with Thor. Then being able to use Divine as Guardian, well, you know, lightning along with Storm's lightning, to fry Midoriya. Him being blasted as the metal technology does explode on his neck. The moment it actually does, Midoriya just go falling backwards. Now, with that being said, Midoriya, he is sent to the hospital, and he does wake up about a week later. Him confused about what happened. Now, we do actually have Charles, and, well, Tony Stark, as they are both staying there telling him a few things. Talking about how somebody took control of Midoriya while they were at the courthouse. What? What do you mean? young man, you weren't in control of your actions. A lot of people got hurt, and did I kill anyone? Hmm? Yes, you did. Now, Roy just look down and begin to cry, talking about how he didn't mean to do it. Charles saying that he understands. Now, Midoriya does begin to watch the news, as a lot of people are throwing hate towards a particular mutant. Now, we do then have some of Midoriya's friends, as Laura X-23, Kitty, Nightcrawler, Magic, and, well, Sunspot, do come to see him. Now, Midoriya, he is surprised. However, his friends do try to comfort him. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.